What's up, guys? Welcome to a very special Halloween edition of Flashback Review, where I take movies from my past, maybe your past, break them down and tell you about them. As always, if you like what you see, remember to check out the YouTube channel, subscribe to it, comment below, all that good stuff. Check out Facebook, Twitter, all under Movie Emporium. Also, check out the email address, enlapola1138@gmail.com if you have any questions. So, it's Halloween, October 31st, my favorite time of the year, outside of Thanksgiving, because I love the food. Halloween is a special tradition where you dress up for parties. Adults have really been getting into it the last few years. And so I wanted to talk about a film that was on my radar for a long time. It was a movie that I was really looking forward to. It had been pushed back for years. For some reason, Warner Brothers didn't want to put this movie out. It was the same thing with Cabin in the Woods, not with Warner Brothers, but with Cabin in the Woods. And this movie never came to theaters, so I didn't see it until it came out into distribution on home video. And of course, that movie is Trick or Treat. It's directed by Michael Dougherty, and basically it stars a whole bunch of characters, but mostly Anna Paquin, Dylan Baker, and Brian Cox. And the reason I wanted to talk about this movie instead of Halloween, outside of Halloween coming out, if the new Halloween hadn't come out, I probably would have talked about that movie first. But Trick or Treat is one of these movies that I was anticipating, like I said, so long for it. It had been announced in like 2010 or something like that. It didn't come out until like 2012 or 2013. And the idea of Michael Dougherty, who has been known for doing stuff like the X-Men franchise, he was creating this genre of movie that hadn't been done for so long as the anthology series. And he was taking this character called Sam, who is Sam a Wise Halloween, that type of thing. Or Sam Hain for for Halloween. And he wanted to create this interesting tale of horror. And that's what we got here. We got three or four tales. It's not really specific, but it's intertwining throughout this night in Halloween in Ohio, which is kind of funny because I'm from Ohio. And the stories they're not in order like an anthology series. They're more in they do one story and then they kind of come back to it later. For instance, the Brian Cox story is like almost like the bookends of the movie. You see it running throughout the story, and then you have the Dylan Baker stuff. He shows up in several parts of this movie, and then you have Anna Paquin, who shows up in several parts of this movie. Leslie Bibb pops up in the very beginning of the movie and at the very end. So maybe that's the kind of bookend. I don't know, because this movie is very weirdly edited and paced. And that's not a bad thing. I actually love that. And that's what I love about this movie, because you're getting the tale of this girl, Red Riding Hood. You're getting a tale of the man who hid from the world, from doing some really bad stuff. You have the teacher who's hiding a secret. You have these four kids who are going to play a prank on this girl who has a mental illness. And everybody gets their comeuppance in some form or fashion, whether it's good, bad. Everybody's just... I can't tell you how much I love this movie. Michael Dougherty has written something so unique and so fascinating. He took a genre, the anthology series, and just turned it on its head. We got this character named Sam, he hoards a bag of candy around. He wears this like burlap sack over his head. And then he has this like orange jumpsuit that he walks around in. It's almost like he's trick-or-treating himself, but he's like the proprietary, he's like the crypt keeper of Halloween. And you see him throughout various parts of this movie. He doesn't really play into effect until the Brian Cox story, when he kind of torments Brian Cox's character. Brian Cox is this shut-in character. He's an old man. He scares off kids with his dog and so on and so forth. It's kind of like the Grinch or whatnot. But I don't know. There's just something uniquely interesting about taking an anthology series and making it more of a unstructured, structured movie. I think the thing that sets this film apart is just the characters in general. A lot of them are nasty, not good characters. A lot of them are horrible characters. And the level of what Michael Dougherty is doing with these characters it's a fascinating look into what horror used to be, but what horror is not now. This is a movie that could have come out in the 80s. And this is a movie that feels like it almost, is timeless for what it's doing. I think, honestly, my favorite part about this movie is the Dylan Baker stuff, because he plays prominently into the Anna Paquin storyline. He plays prominently into the the Brian Cox storyline. And then he has the kid who's the kid from Bad Santa 1 and 2. It's basically Dylan Baker's playing the principal. And he comes up to him and he talks about, how you got to be careful about, how you eat your candy and how, people could kill you with the candy with razor blades. And then he does something really nasty to the kid because the kid has diabetes. And you see all this disgusting dark chocolate coming out of this kid. And it's like, it's stuff like that it's stuff like that in the movie that Michael Dougherty is doing. And then you have the subversion of Anna Paquin's character, who is like the Red Riding Hood, like I said in the beginning. But when Dylan Baker, who's playing this like creep in a like vampire costume who's been murdering people, goes after Anna Paquin's character, and then it turns around that she's part of this wolf cult clan, and they make sacrifices every Halloween. It's a fascinating way to develop horror without something you've never seen before. You really haven't seen a horror film like this. I mean, when you have just like levels of depth and levels of detail that I have never seen done before. I mean, probably Cabin in the Woods comes close to just layer upon layer and how it's being put together. And this movie must have been a nightmare in the editing room. I don't know how they got this movie put together, but this is a movie that shines on every facet, on every level. Michael Dougherty, who is well-deserved getting a movie like Godzilla King of the Monsters, because this is a movie that 20 years from now, 40 years from now, 50 years from now will be looked at as one of the greatest horror films ever made because of what he was able to accomplish. I mean, Sam is like one of the only statues I've ever bought because his character is so fascinating. He doesn't kill people deliberately. He's just there to make sure Halloween is what Halloween's supposed to be. And when Leslie Bibb blows out the candle, or the Halloween pumpkin in the candle in the Halloween pumpkin, she pays the price for it by being made into like a scarecrow, which is crazy. And the little candy thing that he sticks in her mouth, which is crazy. Which is ironic because that plays into the end of the movie of Brian Cox, where he's being tormented by Sam, but at the very end, Sam has tortured him enough and he leaves him alone. Finally, he's killed the dog. And he's biting into that candy or that sucker that he ends up using to kill the Leslie Bibb character. And it's just that level of know-how, level of detail that just makes that insane feel for this movie. And there are many other characters in this movie that I don't unfortunately know their names. They haven't really done anything since, but the fact that this movie still hasn't gotten a sequel, it's got a comic book movie, but the fact that Michael Dougherty never was able to do a sequel kind of is a shame. But maybe that was a creative, artistic choice. I don't know, but I was really happy to see this movie come out finally. I've bought many versions of it. I'm really excited every time I watch it. It's it's only like 89 minutes long, but it's definitely worth watching. The way it's filmed and the way it's, gelled over and stuff like that. It's such a good movie. It's such a great movie. It's a movie that should be watched by everyone, especially if you like horror. I just think you guys should watch it. And I have to if I could give Michael Dougherty a hug, which I know is kind of stupid, I give him a hug because Trick or Treat is just awesome. I mean, I love it, and there's nothing more I can say about it. And I thank you for putting out this film, Michael Dougherty, and goddamn you, Warner Brothers, for taking so long to put that movie out. Like a Cabin in the Woods. I don't know what you were thinking, but it's out. It's definitely worth watching, and you should definitely go see it. But thank you so much, guys. That's my in-depth, long-ass review of Trick or Treat. Thank you for joining me on Halloween. I really appreciate it. But as always, like I said in the beginning, check out my YouTube page. Click like, click the comments below, click subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out Facebook, check out Twitter, comment below. If you've seen the movie, tell me what you think, what your favorite part is, all that good stuff. But also email nlapollawoman38@gmail.com if you have any questions. But otherwise, you guys have a great Halloween, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.